All right, good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Welcome. How many of you were here last time I did this, August 30th? I didn't scare everybody away. That's good news. Okay. How many of you are brand new today? There's a few of you. Awesome. All right, welcome, welcome. We're going to get started. We have a few extra, the Meeting the Four Critical Needs handouts right up here on the steps, so if you didn't get one up front because you were registering kids, please feel free to run up here and grab some of these. If you get close enough, I'll bring you up on stage, and then I'll sit down and you can teach. Deal? No? Okay. All right. So we're meeting the four critical needs today. I'm going to do a quick review of last week for those of you who are brand new. We talked about parenting styles. So we talked about, in a nutshell, drill sergeant. If you're a drill sergeant, meaning you like to control your kids with a lot of anger, manipulation, fear, things that aren't real pleasant, but that's a parenting style some of us go to, myself included. I've been there. Helicopters, meaning trying to control your kids through bribes, coercion, guilt, things like that. Both are controlling kids, but neither one very effective. The third one is the consultant, and we talked a little bit about that. Basically, a consultant parent says to a child, the quality of your life depends on the decisions you make. And so they provide them with lots of empathy, and then consequences fall. But they don't use punishment, they don't use anger, they don't use bribes, coercion, all of those negative tactics. Then we talked about how a lot of my classes are structured in the following way. We talk about the what, the why, and the how. How many of you are going to plan to be here for the next class, which is 3 tips every parent should know? How many people are going to be here? Excellent. If you want the how of parenting, I gave you a little bit last week, I'll give you some more today. That is a really big class for actual skills of how, exactly what to say when your kids leave you speechless, right? So we're going to get into that today, but particularly next week. Take what you will. I said this last time. Not everything I say is going to apply for you. Not everything I say you're going to agree with, and that's okay. Just take what you think is constructive, take what you think is valuable, and run with it. And if you don't like something or you don't agree with it or it doesn't work, toss it away. That's okay. All right? And last but not least, putting the puzzle pieces together. If you were here last week, you got parenting styles, correct? You're here today, we're going to talk about meeting the 4 critical needs. Then we're going to be talking about 3 tips every parent should know. We're going to talk about setting and enforcing limits. We're going to talk about grades, chores, school motivation. That's a huge one for a lot of us, right? And then surviving the teen years. If you can make it to all of these, it all really starts to make sense. If you leave a piece out of the puzzle, it's not complete. So hopefully you can make as many as we can. So let's get going. We talked about challenges last week. I'm just going to throw this up really fast. This is what we're dealing with today as parents. It's a tremendous amount of stuff that we're having to manage. I'm not going to go into all the details of those, but it's definitely something that makes parenting so hard today versus any other time in history. How many of you agree to that? Harder to be my mom actually said to me shortly after my son was born, "Man, I'm so glad I'm not a parent anymore." Thanks, Mom. Brand new baby in my arms going, oh my gosh, fasten your seatbelt, right? It's tough. Okay. Just a funny one to loosen up the crowd because you guys are looking a little bit like deer in headlights, right? Yeah, this is tough stuff. Here we go. What I'd like you to do, if you know me and you've taken my classes, I put you all to work. So I'd like you to get next to somebody. Doesn't have to be a partner or a spouse, but find somebody, and I'd like you to talk about these 2 questions. I'm going to give you just a couple minutes. Don't worry about right or wrong answers, but I want you to just discuss with somebody what you think's going on here. All right? I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Ready, go. All right. Anybody feel brave and want to share what you think kids need more of today? Anybody feeling brave? Yes, ma'am. You think they need more accountability, and she's somebody who doesn't have kids. Love that. What else? Yes, sir. He said more time. Interesting fact. There was a study done worldwide, and they asked kids one question. What do you need more of? And it didn't matter if the child was living in no matter what country, if two parents were working, if they were all at home with mom all day long, the number one answer was time. I asked my own kids this. I was my own children's preschool teacher. They were with me every second of the day, other than when I was in the bathroom. I'm not kidding. They were with me all the time. And I just out of curiosity, I thought, well, my gosh, they've been with me all the time. I bet this doesn't hold true to my kids. And I asked them that same question. Guess what they said? More time. Are you kidding me? So that is true. Kids want more time with you. Why? Why do kids want more time with you? Security. What else? What are they learning from you? They're learning how to grow up. Little boys are learning to become men. Young ladies are learning to be women, right? That's a big job. So they want to watch everything you do and say they want to be with you. It has to do with security, absolutely, and bonding and learning love, all those good things. What do you think children need less of today? Yes, ma'am. Time with their electronics. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. Yes. That's not a human being, is it? You're not going to learn anything constructive other than get better at that particular game, whatever it is, but that doesn't make you a better person. Thank you for saying that. What else do kids need less of? Pressure. Absolutely. Kids are under more pressure today than ever before. How many of you had to take SATs and ACTs and worry about GPA and college entrance exams, and they talked to you starting in like first, second grade? Do you remember that as a kid? I don't. I took the SAT once. It's like, well, that's what it is. Let's move forward, right? I mean, that's just, we didn't put that much focus on kids back then. What else do they need less of? Yes? Say it again? Less stimulation, like electronics and phones and all the media coming at them and all the, yes, absolutely. Schedules that are crazy, right? They're constantly being entertained, constantly running from one thing to the next. Beautiful.
I'm going to say less of work, of employment. It's a nice idea for kids to make their own income and all, but 11 years old for crying out loud?
Yeah, absolutely. Less of that kind of pressure that young with just about everything. Yeah, we're speeding up the childhood process, aren't we? Uh-huh. Absolutely. Are we sexualizing our kids really young as well? Yeah. So there's a lot going on there. All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about the 4 critical needs today. The first one being sense of security, and this certain slides that I think are really important you're going to have in your handouts, and you're welcome to take notes around those. But we're going to talk about sense of security. Unconditional, I have that word in there on purpose, unconditional love and affection. Okay, sense of belonging, and what we call a healthy amount of control. If you were here the first time, and I talked to you about the control that helicopters and drill sergeants pertain to, Love and Logic's all about control. We're looking for a balance or a healthy amount of control. By the way, today, it says it's Love and Logic. Today is a little bit of Love and Logic. This is more Kim Cross than anything, but it still melds into the Love and Logic program. Just FYI, if you're a Love and Logic fan, you go, I have never seen this before. That's why. When we know better, we do better is Maya Angelou's. I kind of tweaked that a little bit, her quote, and I said we can do better. So this can be a very emotional class for some people. We get into what we call the 4 critical needs, meaning these are critical to have kids launch successfully. And I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to do something with somebody they have no idea I'm going to do this with them, but they're such a good friend, I think we can get away with it. Dean, will you come up here for a second? He's like, shoot. Okay, I'm going to do something with Dean that's going to demonstrate how critical these 4 needs are for kids. Okay? Don't be scared. I won't hurt you very much. Okay. I'm going to do something with Dean. He's a good friend of mine, so we can get away with this. I'm going to put my hand over Dean's mouth and nose. And I'm going to block all possibility of breathing. You good with that?
Sure.
For just a couple minutes, 3-4 minutes? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to let him determine when it's time to pull my hand away. All right? So no heart attacks, no passing out. You promise?
Yep.
Don't be a hero. If it's only 10 seconds, I'm good with it.
Okay.
All right, you ready? Go ahead, do whatever you need to do to make me stop. Seriously. Okay, thank you. Give him a round of applause. Do you know why I just did that? What's the most critical thing we need right this minute? Your next what? Your next breath. Thank you, Dean. You're such a good guy. What did he do when I took his next breath away? He fought me. And if I was strong enough to really hold my hand in there, would he almost do anything to get that next breath? I don't care if you're a girl in a pink dress, I'm taking you down, right? Because he's going to get his next breath. If you have kids who don't get those 4 critical needs met, they will fight you tooth and nail to get those needs met. They will also put themselves, listen to this, they will put themselves in harm's way to get those 4 critical needs met. When you don't meet the 4 critical needs, guess who will? Ever heard of a gang? Is that putting yourself in harm's way to join a gang? So a gang can provide sense of security, sense of identity, which isn't on my list, sense of belonging, love and affection, not the healthy kind, and it can give you a lot of control, can't it? So kids who are out of control are often kids who are missing those 4 critical needs. So we're going to talk about what those are. We're going to define them. And we're going to talk about some ideas of how to provide those in your household. And your homework assignment will then to go on and talk to neighbors, talk to friends, and come up with your own ideas. Agreed? All right, here we go. Security. This sounds so basic. And I'm going to talk just a really quick, brief introduction of the definition of this, the what, but we're going to get into the how, and you're going to see this come up again. Feeling safe and secure, having a predictable schedule and environment. And that has to do with approachability too, and we'll get into that momentarily. Clear and consistent rules. Very, very important. Kids love routine, they thrive in limits and boundaries, and they like predictability in their environment. That's a very important piece for children. Consequences and accountability, and what do I have up there, the last one? Time together. This builds sense of security, and somebody already said that. In a nutshell, kids have to feel safe and secure in order to take what we call healthy risks. And that's intellectually, that's connected to school. So kids who feel really secure with an authority figure, they have routine, they have predictability in their environment, predictability with responses with people in their lives, do better in school because they have a really nice, healthy sense of security and authority. That transfers from parents to teachers to future employers to law enforcement. Okay? Second one, unconditional love and affection. Acceptance doesn't mean I agree with you necessarily. So you accept your kids. It doesn't mean you agree with they want to go get a tattoo, they want to go do something stupid or crazy, but you still accept them for who they are. It's unconditional. It's not performance-based. Doesn't matter if you're a good athlete, doesn't matter if you're getting good grades, it doesn't matter how you look, none of those things matter. It's you're our child, you're on this planet, we love you no matter what. Love you just as much if you get straight A's as you do straight F's. We'll love you no matter how long it takes you to get through 4th grade. That's the message, right? That was supposed to be funny. You guys are really serious this morning. Okay. Accountability for behavior also sends that unconditional love and affection trait. Empathy, consequences, and not punishment. We're going to go through exactly defining what punishment is versus consequences here momentarily. Healthy physical touch. How many of you have kids in 6th grade or up? How many of your kids love to snuggle with you in junior high and high school? No. Is physical touch still important to those big kids? Absolutely. Dads, listen up. If you can give healthy physical touch to your daughters as often as possible, and defining that as hugs and sitting together watching TV and a pat on the head or whatever it takes, your daughters are going to be less prone to getting into premarital sex if they have a healthy physical touch relationship with fathers. How about the opposite? Boys and moms. Absolutely. So it doesn't matter how old or how big they get, and I got a 20-year-old, almost 6'4" son. I still make a point whenever he's home. Hugs. If he sits down to watch TV, I sit right next to him so we are touching, whether he likes it or not. Okay? Constantly touching, that physical touch is so important to kids. And we think, oh, boys don't need it as much as girls. Yes, they do. Oh, they're teenagers, they don't. Yes, they do. Because if they don't, they're going to go elsewhere for that? Yes, they do. We don't want that. All right. Oops. Unconditional love is something we all deserve, and it also makes us better people. Very few people on this planet can say, yes, I'm loved unconditionally. No matter how many times I mess up, no matter what I do, I'm still loved. It's not performance-based, it's not grade-based, it's not looks-based, it's not anything. I'm loved unconditionally. That is a very, very powerful tool to launch kids off into the world. They are also more prone to take risks. And what I mean by risks is healthy risks, not jump off a cliff because your friends are, but really healthy things. Entrepreneurs, people like that, are much more apt to do that if they've got this. All right, sense of belonging. This doesn't mean I'm part of this family, I'm part of this school district, I'm part of this classroom, I'm part of this baseball team, I'm part of this church, I'm part of this community, I'm part of whatever it is. It goes far beyond that. Sense of belonging means I am an important, valued, needed person in this family unit. They would not be able to function well without me, AKA chores. How many people in here's kids are doing chores? I asked this last time. The chores, homework, grades, and motivation class coming up addresses this. If your kids are not doing daily, everyday chores to contribute to the well-being of the family, you're robbing them of sense of belonging. They should be contributing to everything in your household. It makes them feel like they're not staying in a 5-star hotel and they get entitled, right? All right. Feeling important, being connected, a contributing member of the group, shared values, and again, what do I have up there, the last one? Time together. It's hard to feel like you belong if nobody's around. So this is a critical piece. Isolation, extremely damaging. What's the worst thing they can do to prisoners? Solitary confinement. And I can't tell you how often I cruise through the grocery store, driving down the street, whatever it is, and I see parents on phones doing this, through the grocery store, by the way, with infants or young toddlers sitting in the cart just kind of looking around. Nobody's got eye contact, nobody's talking to them, nobody's interacting. That's isolation. Kids who come home, they're stuck on a computer, they're put on some kind of device. Nobody's talking to them. How was your day? What's the greatest thing that happened today? The most embarrassing moment, the funniest thing? Tell me what's going on. Nobody's communicating. They're putting in front of electronics, so bless you again for saying that. We've got to be human, face-to-face, tons of time together interacting. That is the most critical piece we can do. All right, just to make sure you're awake. This last one is healthy amount of control. If I were to pick one of these 4 critical needs, I'm seeing this one as a big one that's missing today, but I often, unfortunately, see 2, 3, or even all 4 things missing. Healthy amount of control has to do with choices. If you take all the control away, you're in control of everything, you make all the decisions, you call all the shots, will your child, as Dean did, fight you tooth and nail to get some back? Absolutely. If you've got a lot of conflict going on at home and a lot of arguing and a lot of defiance and it's just power struggles constantly, it's because that child either feels like you have too much control or they do. We got to strike a balance. We'll talk about how in a second. Rules, limits, boundaries, all those things are critical pieces to control. Being respectful to our children and them being respectful back. One of the first things I notice when I come into a home is I kind of sit back for a minute. I say, okay, guys, just kind of, hang out together, communicate, do whatever you normally do. What am I looking for? Big R word. Respect. How does the parent talk to the child, and how does the child talk to the parent? Without respect, none of this is going to work. None of it's going to work. Freedom with responsibility. If kids have a lot of responsibility, that's great as long as they can handle it. That also gives them a lot of what? Freedom. But if you don't give kids any responsibility and all they have is freedom, do they get into trouble? That's a balance. So we're going to talk about that how in just a second. And then, of course, last one, if we want kids to have responsibility, we have to give it to them. And we're going to talk about how to manage that, and especially in the class, setting and enforcing limits. All right. My clicker is so sensitive. Of those 4 critical needs, I want you to talk with a partner again, okay? Which one do you think is missing in your household in general? And which one do you think your child is most missing? Is it sense of security? So is it a predictable environment and a routine? Is it unconditional love and affection? Do you think that is it conditional and they're feeling like they have to be, it's performance-based? Is it sense of belonging? Are they a contributing, important, needed, valued piece of your family unit? Or are they just kind of coming and going and showing up and meals are served and it's automatic and they're not plugged in? Or is it healthy amount of control? Is there a lot of power struggles? Is somebody making all the decisions? Is somebody giving them too much control? I don't know. But I'd like you to have a few minutes to talk with the neighbor about that. Those 4 are up there for you. You've got your notes if you need them. Which of those 4 is missing most for you and your child? Ready, go. All right. Lots of discussion on that one, as there always is. And by the way, as a reminder, I will take questions at the end, because I know there's a lot of rumbling of questions. Okay, so I don't want to know what they are, because that's personal, but how many of you were able to identify which one you think is missing most in your child's life? Most of you. It becomes glaringly obvious, doesn't it? Once you go, whoa, this makes sense. That's why I always live by that, when we know better, we can do better, right? Sometimes we just don't know. And so when you start to know what to look for, it becomes glaringly obvious. Oh, that's why they're making that behavior. That's why they're reacting that way. That's why I'm getting those kinds of results, okay? So let's get into the how. And before that, I want to talk a little bit, just one more minute. What impact is this having on your kids? And what do you think the impact is having on you? And I mean you individually and maybe you as a couple. If your kids are missing 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of the critical needs, how is that impacting yourself personally? How is it impacting them? How is it basically impacting the whole family unit? Okay? And again, what does the future hold for that? I know what it holds because I'm a private in-home parenting coach. I see, unfortunately, the aftermath of that. So when those 4 critical needs are not met, it doesn't typically look good down the road. So I want you to just have a 1 minute, that's all we have time for, a 1 minute quick response with whoever's sitting next to you. What do you think the impact is having on you and them? 1 minute, ready, go. How many of you say, well, the impact on me is I'm exhausted? How many of you are stressed out? How many of you feeling, I got too much on my plate, I can't do this anymore, make it stop? Yes, that is, oh, and that's a flashing, if anybody's kid has a name tag, that's what that is. So it makes us as parents more tired, more stressed, less effective, probably angry and yelling and shouting more. Yeah? Okay, so that's not helping anybody, is it? And it's not making parenting joyful and fun and, oh, this is so wonderful. It's just how I thought it would be when I brought this new baby home. I just love every minute of this, right? So the joy should be in parenting. This should be something you truly love to do. It's your biggest job, your most important job. And if it's not going well, and you've figured out which of these 4 needs are met, or all 4, unfortunately, maybe that's where you're at, we're going to talk about how to start turning that around. I couldn't do that in the first class. I can't do it all in this class, but by the time we're done with the 6 classes, you'll have a huge leg up on all of this. All right. Security ideas. These are just a few I'm going to throw at you. Keep the ones you like, toss the ones you don't, add to more. That's your homework. Come up with more that you like, okay? Establishing clear and consistent rules together. Don't do this with 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. But if your kids are junior high, high school, or late elementary, depending on their maturity level, it's okay to sit down, have a family meeting, and go, okay, guys, here's the deal. Here's how it works. Because who's in charge of rules in your household? You guys are, right? Just check. Can you say that really loud? Thank you. Because I can't tell you how many times in a grocery store and the 2 and 3-year-old is in charge. And they're screaming and throwing a fit, and the parents go, oh, okay, and they give in. Like, really? Who's in charge, right? So that's your deal, parents, that's your deal. Discuss expectations often. My kids grew up with several sayings in our household, and I repeated them at least 3, 4 times a week, to the point they're like, oh my God. And my daughter's in the background, and she's going, and I still hear them ringing in my head. One of them was work before play. That's it. That's all you ever said, work before play. Nothing happens good after 10 p.m. Said that all the time to my kids. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Said that one, especially junior high. That's a big one. And never, ever, ever underestimate your mother. They heard that a lot too. So, all these expectations, you don't say them once and then think they got it. Okay? You've got to repeat yourself all the time. And what did I say? And what did we agree on? And what are the expectations? Those need to be repeated. Clear limits and boundaries and expectations. Crystal clear, especially if you have a kid who's going to ask why. Answer every one of those whys and make sure we're on the same page and repeat it back to me. And what did we just say? Right? Predictable routines and schedules. Bedtime should be the same time every night, and I don't care if it's a holiday or weekend. Let me repeat that, because a lot of people go, really? Ooh, she's hardcore. Yes, I was. Routines should be predictable. They should be something that kids adhere to. Will they do better if their sleep time is always at the same time? Yes. Will they do better if they eat regularly at the same times? Yes. Is that a Kim thing or is that a biological, physiological fact? That's a fact, okay? Predictable parent responses. What I mean by that is if Monday morning your kid asks you to do something and you go, sure, sweetheart, that sounds great. And by Friday you've had a really rough week and you're just exhausted, you've had it, and the kid comes to you with the same thing and you bite their head off. Is that confusing to a child? Absolutely. I'm not kidding when I say this, when I work with clients. If your kid comes to you, and I've said this before, with a hangnail or they're pregnant, your response should be the same. Because a consultant parent basically gives the message of, the quality of your life depends on the decisions that you make. And that's really a bummer. How can I help? Not how can I solve your problem? How can I make this go away? You got to be approachable and very consistent in your responses to them, not just your predictability of your routines at home. Establishing traditions and making memories, so critically important for kids. How many of you remember and recall holidays in your household, a particular holiday, a birthday, a Christmas, something, and it was the same every year and you look forward to it every year? Tell you a really wacky story, because we were a crazy family, but every night before school, the first day of school started, we had rooftop tacos, and I would bring my kids up onto the roof, and we'd have dinner on the roof. I'm not kidding. And we would get a new perspective on life and talk about what's happening for the next school year, and we'd have tacos on the roof. One year I forgot. Boy, did I hear about that. I mean, it was the night before. I think my son was going to be a senior in high school, and I thought, oh, they're over this. They don't care. Oh, yes, they did. And I had to scrap what I had made for dinner, start over, go down to the store, get the stuff for the dang tacos, climb out the window, which gets harder when you're my age, and we had to sit up on the roof, and we did rooftop tacos. It was that important to them. Those traditions and those memories tie in for kids. Anybody ever do the tooth fairy and forget? Been there, done that too. That was ugly, okay? So those are really important to kids. Time together again, please, time together, dinner every night. One-on-one time. Dads, how many of you ever taken your daughters out for date night? Start if you haven't. It's wonderful. Show her what a true gentleman should treat a lady like. Because where do they learn that from first? Their daddies. That's right. Moms, go out and do something you normally would not want to do, like laser tag or something with your boys. Just get it out of your system. Just do it, right? They'll think you're the greatest mom on the planet. Really important. Positive feedback and encouragement. How many of our kids today are getting tons of, hey, good for you, you showed up, participation, here's a trophy, thanks for breathing? That's not what I'm talking about. You have to earn those things. But kids are getting a lot of negative feedback from peers. Maybe they're not doing well in school, so they're not getting a lot of feedback that's constructive for them as far as academics. But what can we be telling them that is constructive and positive encouragement and feedback? Should we focus on what they look like? Oh, sweetie, you look so pretty today. You look so... Is that constructive? I don't think so. Can we target things like their character? That was very polite. Thank you for being polite with that. That was really kind of you to help that gentleman. Can we focus on their morals, their ethics, their honesty, their hard work, their work ethic, their effort? Are those things that are encouraging for kids? Absolutely. All right, moving on. Pearls of wisdom. I'm taking a break here because a lot of times people get confused, and I'm going to just address these. This is probably the most important page you have in your packet. The difference between punishment and consequences. I always get this question, so I'm just going to preempt you on this one. If you punish somebody, it means you have all the control, and you're making them hurt from the outside. They're now angry at you. So you punish them, you ground them. Some parents are hitting kids. They're doing all kinds of crazy things. And they're yelling and screaming, and it makes the child feel very angry toward you because you're destroying the what? The relationship, okay? Consequences makes the child hurt from the inside, like, dang it. That was a really bad decision I made, and now I'm paying the consequence for it. For example, didn't do my homework assignment, got a bad grade. Forgot my lunch, went hungry. Didn't bring my coat, got cold. Mouthed off to some kid and got a black eye. Whatever it is. And that's how we learn not to do that again. Go back to college, late high school, college, your 20s, all of you. Go back to I know some of you are still in your 20s, but go back to your 20s and think about one of the worst things you ever did. Would you do it again? Probably. I see a lot of this. Probably not. Why? Because you paid a consequence. But as soon as somebody comes in and gets angry with you and starts yelling and screaming, you're not focusing anymore on what you did, you're focusing on them. And now you've even forgotten why you're in trouble, you've forgotten what you did, and now it's game on with this person, I'm going to get you back. So when we get angry and start screaming, do you know what happens to the human brain when somebody yells at you? It shuts down. The frontal lobe, the learning center, shuts down to learning, and the brain kicks into the brainstem back here and goes into survival mode. They get defensive. So the louder we yell, the more we scream and yell, the less they're learning, and the more they're hating us for yelling and screaming. Okay? Choices means control. If I come in and I'm going to pick on Dean's wife, see, this is what happens when you sit in the front. And I say to Lisa, sit up, do this, do that, put your paper away, go over here, and I start giving her commands. Who has all the control at that point? She's thinking, she has all the control. But when I share control and say, hey, Lisa, you can either do this or this, what works best for you, I just put her in thinking mode. When I command things and I constantly tell somebody what to do, I've got them in fighting mode. All they want to do is say no and fight back because they want some what? Control. But if I give her two choices, hey, sweetheart, do you want carrots or peas? They're thinking, which one do I want? Do you want to wear your red coat or your blue coat? Are you going to wear your tennis shoes or your sandals? Are you going to go brush your teeth upstairs or down? Are you going to go to Johnny's house or Timmy's house after school? Do you want to go swimming today or play tennis? Do you want to go to your room touching the ground or not touching the ground? Because you're going to your room, right? So two choices constantly gets kids in thinking mode as opposed to fighting mode. You will share control when you give kids choices. You'll be amazed at how much they respond to that. It's okay, people, for your kids to be disappointed, frustrated, and inconvenienced. If you're a true helicopter parent, those words make you bristle. I don't want my child to be disappointed. I don't want my child to be frustrated. I don't want my child to suffer any consequences. How about life? Do you ever think about it, ever, maybe once or twice in your whole life, been frustrated, disappointed, or inconvenienced? Or is that every day? It's like every hour of every day, right? That takes practice. Self-control, how to handle that, how to manage those emotions takes practice. If we don't allow our kids to be frustrated, disappointed, or inconvenienced, are we robbing them of opportunities to practice that? We are. And we're setting them up to launch into the real world. They first time ever, they're disappointed, frustrated, inconvenienced, and they go, wow, they freak out. And they overreact, and they punch somebody, and they do all kinds of crazy things. Road rage, there's all kinds of examples we can all think of. We are robbing them of the opportunity to wrestle with those emotions, work through them, and move forward in a positive manner. It is okay for your kids to be disappointed, frustrated, and inconvenienced. You're preparing them to deal with what we call life, right? Okay, another pearl of wisdom. As soon as, or I'll be happy to, memorize those two phrases. That's how you share control. Child comes to you, really disrespectful tone. All you have to say is smile, it works better. It means you're just totally calm and in control. And just say, as soon as your voice is as calm as mine, I'm happy to listen. And then walk away. When your child says, I'm not brushing my teeth, or whatever it is that they're not doing, as soon as you brush your teeth, we'll have a story. No brushing teeth, no story. As soon as your room's clean, happy to take you to soccer practice. But the team needs me, we're having a game. I know. And as soon as your room's clean, happy to take you to soccer practice. Okay? That phrase, as soon as, or I'll be happy to, mix it up, happy to take you to Timmy's house as soon as your homework's done. Happy to feed you dinner when you can speak to me in a respectful tone. That still shares control. You're not saying, if you do this, then I'll do that. That's control. That's fighting mode, isn't it? That's a threat. Or two choices. You can do your homework or go to your room. Is that two choices? No, that's a threat. So two choices you can live with, okay? Only give two. If they can't make a decision, you make one for them. Peas or carrots? Neither one. Great, carrots. Move on. Red coat or blue coat? I'm not wearing a coat. Great, do you want to carry it or wear it? Just come back constantly. Two choices. Thinking mode, you are still in charge, but they're going to choose one of those two. Okay? Tell them what you're going to do, what we call enforceable statements. My car leaves in 15 minutes, whether you're ready or not. And then have a bag of clothes already in the car, and you put them in their jammies, and they have to figure out how to get out of their jammies and into their clothes. It's strapped into the seatbelt. It's amazing how creative they can do it. I've seen it in my own two eyes with one of my kids. She's back there going, oh my God, so embarrassing. Okay. So let's keep moving. Unconditional love ideas. How can we show kids that we love them unconditionally and it's not based on performance, looks, grades, anything like that? Help them discover their passion. Help them discover what they're put on this earth for. What are they good at? What do they love doing? That adds so much positive to a kid's life and your relationship. Focus on their strengths, folks. Don't focus on the negatives. Yes, we can help them get better at those things, but they're probably not going to make a living if those things are not really what they're good at. So focus on what they're good at, okay? A healthy touch, again, I always joke about handshake, hug, or high five, depending on your kids. Some little boys are like, okay, I can't do the hug thing, but they'll do the handshake. My brother was one. He would shake my mom's hand at night. He went through this weird phase. It was funny. And then after a while, it was just kind of the high five, right? And then later it got into the hug, but it was pretty cute. Establish academic and personal goals. Don't just focus on school all the time. Focus on personal goals as well. Find that balance. If people always said to you, all you have to do is go to work, you can't have any fun in your life, no weekend fun, we're just going to work you to death 7 days a week, that's it, no fun, nothing personal, it's all about your work. You wouldn't last long. That wouldn't be fun for you. And sometimes that's what we're doing to kids. They're so overscheduled that everything is work, 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 work. Where's the downtime? Where's the joy? Where's the laughter? Where's the fun? Just silliness together, okay? Connecting real-world applications to what they're doing in school is critically important for some kids, not all. More compliant kids will just go through the routine. Okay, I'm supposed to be homework, okay, and they're very compliant. But some kids go, I don't get why I'm even doing this. Give them the why. You know what? This is a great career path. Someday you're going to need that for this. Let's talk about that. Or how can you use this someday? Some kids really need that connection, okay? Celebrating successes, take a moment and celebrate it. Doesn't mean a trophy, okay, for breathing. Just celebrate the fact that they did something really wonderful. Let them know every day, I love who you are, not what you did. I love who you are. And focus on those internal things, not those external things. Their character, their morals, their values, their patience, their kindness, their honesty, those things. Let them know you're noticing. Belonging ideas. Get those kids doing chores. I don't have the time to get into the details, but please, if you don't have kids with chores, remember one thing, and we'll talk about this in my chores class. Do not pay your kids for chores. That's all I'm going to say for now, but come to the chores, school motivation. Chores are directly connected to academic achievement, believe it or not. Well, let me back up. First, it's respect for authority. Then it's chores, because that's dealing with frustration, disappointment, and inconvenience, right? Because chores are yucky. So is homework. And that's then connected to academic achievement. It's those three things are connected as long as the foundation piece, which is a good relationship, is in place. Okay, we'll talk more about that too. Children need to feel valued, needed, and connected for their own individuality. Don't compare your kids. Don't say, do it more like your brother. Why can't you be more like your sister? Why can't you be more like down the street, Johnny? Don't ever say that to a kid. Very destructive. Honor them for who they are. What are they good at? What are their special, unique gifts and qualities that they have? And point them out and honor them. They may not be what society says is important. They may not be what you necessarily thought you'd get with the package deal with a kid, but pick out what they're good at and point that out to them all the time. Okay? And then start looking for more things that are positive. Acknowledge their contributions and their expertise. Acknowledge that. Thank you so much for setting the table. Thank you so much for taking out the trash. Thank you so much for helping me get ready for that party. I couldn't have done it without you. You'll see your kids' chest pump up and they'll be like, yeah. They love to be needed. They love responsibility. They love to be valued. Okay? This is a big one for me. Sincere hellos and goodbyes. I have watched so many parents as I go into people's homes, and I watch for when the kid comes home and when they leave, and I look to see what the parent does. Does the child walk in, the parent just kind of goes, hey, or they jump on them right away with the negative? You forgot to do this. You looked this way. You didn't do this. What's with your hair? Oh my gosh, your pants are wrinkled, whatever it is. And the first thing that child gets is negative. I want your kids to anticipate coming in the door and being greeted like a rock star. And for you to say, oh, she's home. Oh my gosh, sweetheart, I missed you. How was your day? How does it make a person feel? It's like the old Cheers show, remember? Norm, when he walks in. I want your kids to anticipate coming home and be welcomed with open arms in a really positive way. Home should be that wonderful, secure, safe place. When they leave, it's not just see ya. It should be a hug, some kind of physical touch, coming and going from the house. Okay? It's a hug goodbye. It's a love you. It's a proud of you. Have a wonderful whatever it is. But coming and going should always be positive, not just neutral or negative. Okay? Start with a positive with kids all the time. If you need to give them some constructive feedback, first start with a positive. You know I love you. You know I really appreciate this, this, and this. I want to talk to you about this one little thing. Because if you don't grease it with a little positive, what is the only thing they're going to hear and walk away with? The negative, right? All right, last one, healthy control ideas. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. Choices, choices, choices. Provide choices whenever possible. The more choices you give throughout the day, you will find the less your kids will fight you. You will get a lot less pushback. So if it starts first thing in the morning, do you want eggs or pancakes? Did you want to bring a coat or a sweater today? Did you want to brush your teeth with kitchen water or bathroom water? Sounds silly, but I'm telling you, they fall for it. Do you want your lunch in a paper sack or a plastic sack today? Or your lunch pail? After school, did you want to start with mowing the lawn or unloading the dishwasher? For free time today, do you want to go for a walk or a bike ride? Constantly give these kids choices. They start to feel like they're making a lot of decisions and they have some control. And they will fight you so much less. As opposed to saying, pick that up, do this, hurry up, eat your breakfast, do this, get your coat, da-da-da-da-da. And the kid is starting to feel like they have no control. And what will they do, as I did with Dean? They will start to fight you. So if you're having a lot of control battles, that's probably what's going on, okay? Ask for their input and their opinion. Hey, I'm throwing this salad together. What do you think? Do you think cucumbers or red peppers would be better in here? I know that sounds crazy, but it makes them feel important and they're plugged in and they matter and they have a voice. So start asking them those things. Gosh, I've heard vinegar works really good on washing windows. What do you think? Should we try the Windex or we should try this new vinegar thing? What do you think? It sounds silly, but they love it. My 20-year-old still comes home periodically, and I've shared this before, and I say, hey, buddy, you coming home at 10 or 10:30? He's 20. He can come over whenever he wants. He'll go 10:30. Great. Like, he still falls for it. It's awesome. Hold family meetings. If things start to not go so well, hold a family meeting, gather everybody together and go, okay, guys, what's working, what's not? You can even give them the first two questions I guessed you. What do you need more of? And what do you need less of? Ask your kids that question. It's a fascinating thing. And tell them all answers are okay, you won't be in trouble. Because be careful, but you may get some interesting responses. I've had kids do this with family meetings where I have to negotiate, mediate those. And typically kids will go, I need less yelling. The parents go, ooh, that one hurt, right? Or I need more time with you, or I need more responsibility. I've had kids actually say that. I need more decisions. I need that. Otherwise, I feel like I'm not really living here. I'm just sort of in and out like a hotel. Okay? Promote that personal responsibility and leadership, and that goes along with that last one. I challenge you guys to make a mobile with your kids. Just a piece of construction paper, and it'll say responsibility on one side and freedom on the other, and hang it in their ceiling of their room, and let it just spin in the wind, and have a discussion about that. What does that mean? That's how life works. So if you can handle the freedom, I'm going to give you more responsibility, which will give you more freedom, which then gives you more responsibility. Are we preparing them for real life? Yeah. But if we give them tons of freedom and no accountability, no responsibility, no deadlines, no nothing, do they go crazy? They do. If you give them a ton of responsibility and no freedom, will they react to that? Yes, they will. You've got to strike that balance. Ask your kids, do you think you have too much freedom? Don't ask that to a junior high kid. Ask elementary and down. Do you think you have too much responsibility? What do you need more and less of? Be open to what they say. That doesn't mean you have to do what they say, right? Some kids are going to say, I need to go to bed at midnight. Yeah, no, nice try, but not an option. But just open that up to their discussion, get their opinions on that. That's kind of a fun one. I used to do that in my classroom all the time. Kids did the mobiles. I had one in my classroom. Kids went home, and you could hear them on the playground starting to talk about that. You have too much freedom. You need more responsibility. It's great. It's great. All right. So your homework is to add to that list. My list is by no means exhaustive. Add to your list. You don't have to turn this in. I'm not going to give you a grade. What I'm just saying is talk at home. How can I make things more secure at home? How can I make my kids feel more unconditionally loved and give them more affection that's healthy touch? How can I make them feel belonged? How can I give them a healthy amount of control? So I want you to do that during the week until we meet again, and work on that. Now, I'm going to conclude here with just a couple things. Number one, if you missed the first class, which was Parenting Styles and Their Impact, Ken in the back has a packet of those handouts. So if you missed that first class and you'd like those handouts, we have those for you. Okay? Second of all, we are still very appreciative of any donations you can make toward covering our childcare costs, so we appreciate that. And with that, I'm going to end it. Sam's going to cut the video, and I will take questions.